primetime television?
I mean, and he did. He had a sketch show, 4 episodes. They didn't make it.
Yeah.
It's really
They're on
interesting.
YouTube.
You ever seen it?
No.
It's
Yeah.
good stuff. It's good stuff.
Argus is in it. Argus
That
Hamilton.
sounds about right.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. And then also, that's what happened with Chappelle, too. It's kind of like dangerous stuff. Everyone's like, gooch, you know. That's the sound of executives.
But he
I guess,
walked
pooping
because they
themselves.
offered him so much money, his brain exploded, right?
I think it was like a combination of things. You know, they offered him a lot of money, sure, but I feel like he may have said that he felt like he was losing creative control.
Oh, okay.
Or that it became so big that it was like there was all
Chappelle?
this power stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading this conspiracy that like all these black leaders like Quincy Jones and Bill Cosby were like telling him he was making black people look bad and that he was feeling a lot of pressure from that faction, plus felt like he was losing creative control, plus felt like he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to live up to the previous seasons, and so it was all just, but who knows?
Yeah.
There's a lot of hearsay. Are you going to feel that
I like
way?
that you said, like, here's all the conspiracies, but who knows? Yeah.
Well, that's, you know what? That's the difference between somebody who is interested by conspiracies and conspiracy theorists, because they're immediately like, yep, I was looking for somebody to say this stuff all along. I'm in, hook, line, and sinker. And then like, oh, that's an interesting take on it. It could be true. Who knows?
Got you. I got you.
But do you feel like with New Negroes, you're going to reach that level?
That's an interesting question. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, people are already concerned about the word Negroes. Negroes is already a kind of a controversial word. It's a quote unquote trigger word.
Yeah.
And so, especially for black people,
Really?
we've gotten a little pushback kind of internally before we launched our like campaign.
Yeah.
There was a lot of anticipation that there would be pushback. There wasn't much pushback.
I think everybody needs to take a deep breath and realize no matter what you do,
yes.
there is going to be pushback. No matter no matter how safe, no matter how mainstream, there will be somebody or a group of people that disagree with it.
Right, and I think it's just about being able to defend your choices and then also acknowledge that, you know, I guess I acknowledge that some people will be offended no matter what I do or what I say. And it's just kind of like, okay, that word hurts some people, but that's not how I mean it. I chose it for a very specific reason. You know, I'm choosing it out of love. Also, it's a word that people don't know how to feel about. And I think that sometimes people are like, is this a bad word or not? And that confusion or that ignorance about the history of the word can make just people feel like, I don't like it, so it must be wrong.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
No,
I think it's a lot of ignorance, confusion, and just fear. People don't want to be labeled as hateful or be seen or even worry about seeing themselves that way. So before somebody else can see them being okay with a word like that, they're like, no, this is wrong, you can't do that. But they really just they're just trying to protect themselves.
And it's also up to me to define what I mean by it.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like, that's what I hope to get out before people really see it. It's just like, look, if I can explain, it's a title from a different era. It was the title of a book in the Harlem Renaissance that was kind of a collection of different writers and artists, kind of collecting all these ideas of what at that time it meant to be a black person in America. That's what I'm aiming at. I'm collecting all these different comedians that just because of who they are and what their lives are and what they talk about, they are defining what it means to be a black person in America today. And essentially, you know, that's what we aspire to be, is a collection of voices that kind of, you know, encapsulate a time, encapsulate what's going on right now. The end.
We called this motherfuckers because we fuck mothers.
Oh, basically the same. I mean, if I can be honest.
Very controversial name.
It is. It is.
To tie this back into the theme, I have a question for you that relates to this.
That's brilliant, by the way, what you said.
Appreciate
I just
that.
couldn't avoid not
Making a
saying
joke,
that.
of course.
Do you ever get concerned about your present day work or anything that you've put out in the past?
Yeah.
Your kid/kids seeing and whatever they think of it.
Have you seen the show Better Things on FX?
Yeah. It's great.
It's really, really good. Avery,
I haven't seen it.
Check it out.
Okay.
Now, I'm not.
Also, I don't watch TV because I'm a dad.
Yes, exactly.
ahead.
But
Yeah.
when they're asleep.
When they grow up, for sure.
Have you seen Peppa Pig? It's you got to.
I have not seen Peppa Pig.
Are you caught up on all of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Wait a minute. Are you watching Mr. Rogers with your kid?
All of it. I've seen every episode multiple times.
That's
It's
actually
been
great
on the
idea.
air since the 50s.
That's all we watch.
But can you stream it?
Yeah.
Oh, snizzles.
On
They put all of Fraggle Rock on HBO now.
that I want to get into.
Oh, they did.
They did. They put all of Fraggle Rock up there.
I'm
All of
down.
Animaniacs is on Hulu.
Whoa.
Animaniacs is way more. By the way, pretty dangerous show. I was actually
Was it?
kind of
Very,
watching it
yeah.
again. I was like, this show is edgy.
Yeah,
like
there was some stuff.
for 11, 12-year-olds, there's some interesting
Pinky
stuff
and the
in there.
Brain is pretty much a metaphor for Osama bin Laden.
Or who knows?
What are we gonna do today, Brian?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Trying to take. Oh, he's supposed to sound like Orson Welles or something.
Wait, where were we?
Where were we?
I wanted to ask you.
so better things.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I brought that up because look, I'm not like a white woman who's raising 3 daughters alone, but
You could have fooled me.
I know.
Yes.
But the story of a person who makes her living a certain way in a certain place and her kids growing up in that place and kind of it's just part of the world that they're in. When you didn't come from that, I kind of am like, oh, this is a model of what to look like, or what it could look like. So it's kind of like me being an actor or telling jokes, me being a, if you will, a public person is something that I have to think about in the sense of what it is that I want my kids to see and not see of my public person, and balancing that out with the realness, right? That was something we were talking about before as well, where it's like I'm always kind of performing for my kids, but I got to get comfortable with letting them see the real me because it's going to build that trust too. Because even with like that crying stuff, like when I didn't understand what the crying meant, or I knew that I couldn't stop the crying.
Whoa! There was crying talk, and I missed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, the biggest thing that helped me figure out, like, help me deal with when they're crying, is of course your impulse is to
Oh,
stop it.
them crying. I thought we were talking.
No,
about
not
us
us.
as
Not
dads
us.
crying.
The kids crying.
We cry inside.
We cry in reverse. It's called laughter. That's
The
what we
best
do.
definition of it. I've ever heard.
Exactly. It's a reverse crying. So, I don't know. I went into a British accent. So, if I couldn't stop the crying or couldn't do anything, then what I realized I have to do is just look at him and hold him and be like, I don't know what to do, but I'm here, man.
Yeah.
Like, I need him to know that if he's crying, I'm still here. You know what I mean? That I'm not going to be like, well, I don't know what to do with you and like, discard him.
Yeah, you go like,
but
I'm
just
trying
be
to
like,
figure it out.
so that way when he's upset or when he's, he knows to come to me. Even if I can't make the thing go away, I can just comfort him in some sort of way.
Supportive, yeah.
So what was I going to tie this
We were
back
talking
to?
about your work,
but you're more
Trying to
of a Bill
tie
Cosby
it back
guy.
to
and the idea of your children seeing your work one day,
Yeah, and I guess-
judging you.
And I guess that yes, well, the judgment is the thing that I really fear. When there's certain things that I do, I just had a line in. I don't even know if I can say this. I don't know how it works. I just had a line on a
break
TV
that
show
NDA.
the other day. I don't think I got an NWA, but I don't know about an NDA. I said I fucked a couch into a camera. And then I just that line by itself, I fucked a couch. And I'm like, one day my son is going to see this and he's going to be like, you could just pause, you could put subtitles on.
Make it into a gift.
And pause it and be like, Father, is this who you are in my future? And I just have to accept that that's going to happen.
Then you go, you like your shoes? You like the bed you live in? You like the roof?
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
that? Well, do you like the couch that I
How's
fucked?
that meal you had yesterday?
But it's a weird
Yeah.
a weird thing though for us because we're in an industry where these lines between what's us and what's on stage are very blurred.
Right.
It's like us but not us, and then that person is who we are, but it's not, but it is.
Do you feel weird talking about your kid in your comedy, or
Yes, I do, because I feel like I haven't even figured out how to do it yet.
okay?
Like, well, we just did a show the other day. You did some jokes about your child.
a few, yeah.
And so it's like, And I saw that, and I'm like, okay, well, Sandy's talking about it, and I see other people who are new.
Well, Sandy's doing it.
Well, it's just
I don't
like,
think that's ever a good idea.
No. I just mean in the hey.
Busting balls over here.
Yeah, can't spell Danto without don't. Don't. There you go.
It's going to be the name of my first album.
Don't.
Yeah.
That's how you, what is that? I forget what it's called. You just mix up the letters. Anyway, a scramble, like the eggs I ate this morning. So, you know those eggs.
No.
Huevos. What was I talking about?
The leftover ones from the fertility clinic.
Oh, there it is.
Hey,
Over
good
easy.
God.
Come on.
What the heck was I talking about? See, it's the catchphrase again.
Delicious. Yeah. Oh, that's a dad
You guys
joke
are some
alert.
jokers. You guys are some real numbskulls.
Very low bar in this
You guys are
podcast.
a couple of knuckleheads.
The original title of this podcast was going to be Dad Jokes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then there's like a Facebook live stream or something. Who was it? Tony Baker had something called Dad Jokes, and it was just like he was doing jokes back and like dad jokes off. And
Oh, I've seen that.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
On
fun.
like is it like all def digital or something
Yeah.
like that?
Something like that,
Yeah, that I have seen that. It makes me laugh.
he does that so well. So it's like, well, let's just put the word "fuck" into our podcast.
Hey, there you go. Always an easy fix.
Yeah.
Fucking is an easy fix. That fucking is an easy fix. Hey, the kids, you can pick up some sticks. Cause fucking is an easy fix. See, this is why I need to do the 88.
Yeah, you're gonna do 88. It's
Where
gonna be
it's
great.
gonna happen. So anyway, what were we talking about?
You had asked a question.
It's about the
after.
balance about the thing, right?
Yeah.
The balance and and I guess it's that trust. That's why I bring up that crying thing where it's like, you know, if he can accept, I guess, this weird barrier, this weird blurred line that exists where he's going to know that I talk about him. He's going to know that I take our life and turn it into content.
Right.
You know, whether it be stand up or a script or, you know, or he's going to see me in a show that's a different life than what we're actually living.
Yeah.
But know that I'm acting on a screen because he sees me on a screen a little bit.
Yep.
My wife thinks it's great. Look, there's Dada when I'm not at home. And I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
He's watching me in a TV show. Is he going to know the difference between the TV me and the real me?
Also, just might warp his sense of reality.
Exactly.
Who are those kids?
That's what I'm
It's going to have to suffer from the same thing you suffer from.
Why is he over there?
Why are there?
Why does he not respond when I'm trying to hug him?
Da-da.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Your sisters do not live in Los Angeles. Does
No.
your mom?
No, my mom lives in Las Vegas.
So do you FaceTime with the baby to them?
I have definitely, yes.
Because I think kids that are growing up now will just have a different understanding of what they see on screens because they FaceTime so much
Yes.
from the time they're born.
Yes.
Your child with my child, your child, everybody does it
Yes.
because nobody lives around all their relatives
Not
all
anymore.
the time.
Not anymore.
So I just think that kids will probably have a different understanding of what they see on the screen. They'll think either everybody on the screen is related to them or everything
How
that
come
they
you
see
never
you
see?
doing.
He'll be like, why don't you yell at your TV son ever? You're always nice to your TV son.
I mean, that was kind of a concern about us when we were growing up with just cable television, wasn't it? That we were watching so much TV, and it's like, well, how are these kids going to know the difference between this and reality? And they're right, we don't.
Do you remember the shock when we found out that Bob Saget
we all have
was a
ADD.
complete, like, when we found out, like, Danny Tanner, Bob Saget was Danny Tanner, and
Yeah.
Bob Saget was such a potty mouth to make a dad joke. Like, that freak, like, when do you see
When he was a stand-up?
The Aristocrats and all that
Oh, yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and finding out Danny Tanner was a piece of shit.
I didn't know anything about Bob Saget stand-up as a kid when I was Full House.
Yeah,
But
no.
what he did was kind of like what a young pop star does when they get to an age like Hannah Montana. She's like, I'm 18 now. I'm not Hannah Montana anymore. I'm going to show my tits. Bob Saget just did the comic version of that.
He's going
like,
to talk about tits.
I'm not a wholesome primetime dad anymore. I'm going to talk about tits.
Kind of like
wasn't-
felching Mary Kate and
Yeah.
some weird shit.
But wasn't he always dirty? Was he dirty, a quote-unquote dirty comic before he was
I
on
believe
that show?
so, yeah.
He must have been. He takes it so easy.
Casting, am I
According
right?
to the Lifetime original movie about Full House, he was very dirty.
Was there a movie?
Yeah, it's really corny. It's great.
Did they do it like a double feature with that Saved by the Bell
Yes.
movie? Oh my good
They're
lord!
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, I want to watch that.
That's
And
so
that's
weird.
how they get you.
Yeah.
We're making movies about the backstage of our TV shows as a kid.
Yeah.
What is more meta than that? And that's the thing with the screens thing. it'll shake out how it shakes out, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, like, because I want him to not watch TV as much as I did. I want him to not play video games as much as I did. But he's going to be in a world where kids are watching TV and playing video games. And my wife also said, well, aren't you going to watch TV and play video games? Like, yeah, but I lived a life. Well,
But I'm a dad.
I'm done.